These days, talk of World War III never seems far away. But how close is the world to nuclear war? The conflict in Ukraine has lasted longer than Russian President Vladimir Putin anticipated, due to unexpected logistical issues, a hostile population, and a tenacious Ukrainian resistance force. Ukraine has been able to repel much of the Russian military and even claim some significant victory over some parts in their country. However, both sides appear to be approaching a stalemate, and a drawn-out war means higher stakes and a greater likelihood that someone will use a nuclear weapon, which is Russia. The possibility of a nuclear war is never zero, according to the latest events. However, since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, the risk level has risen to levels not seen in decades, and it is now firmly within the realm of scary possibility. The director of the CIA stated that the United States was very concerned about the possibility of a nuclear attack. They believed that the state of the war and Putin's numerous setbacks could lead to a potential desperation on the Russian leadership's part, pushing the Russian army to use tactical nuclear weapons to take out a victory in Ukraine. The chances of a nuclear war breaking out are impossible to evaluate, but there is a safe zone as long as Western nations avoided direct military confrontation with Vladimir Putin over Ukraine. Then the likelihood of nuclear conflict is low and close to zero. They add, however, that as Putin becomes more dissatisfied with how the war effort is progressing, he may become desperate, increasing the odds. So really, no one knows how the war in Ukraine will unfold, and Putin has certainly demonstrated himself to be a risk taker. Russia has not stated clearly why it would use a nuclear weapon, but government officials have so far refused to rule it out. If it is an existential threat to Russia, then it can be used in accordance with their concern. The statement does not contradict any previous Russian policy on the use of nuclear weapons. Russian nuclear weapons should only be used to deter foreign aggressors or if the country believes it is facing an immediate existential threat. However, the scary part is that Vladimir Putin enjoys using risks, and he believes he has a much greater appetite for risk than the West. He's trying to use the old playbook of, if I frighten you enough, you'll back down. Ultimately, even a demonstration strike with nuclear weapons would turn Russia into a global pariah. The world really needs to be able to manage the risk, keep the nerve, and not panic when Vladimir Putin does something unexpected. There is no indication of direct confrontation. According to a nuclear policy researcher at the German Institute of International and Security Affairs, both the US and Western European governments have repeatedly stated that they have no intention of escalating this conflict beyond Ukraine. But what matters now is that all sides avoid any steps that could create misunderstandings and dangerous steps for humanity. Steps that could lead to an unintentional and potentially nuclear catastrophic war.